Real quick, I want you to think about the last time a man in your life actually checked on you. Not a "was good" in passing, not a fire emoji on your story. I mean, actually checked on you, picked up the phone, called you, or even sat down with you and asked the real question and waited for the real answer. How long did it take you to come up with someone? Now flip it. When's the last time you did that for somebody else? I'm not asking to put you on blast. I'm asking because I think most of us, if we're being completely honest with ourselves, can't come up with a recent answer on either side. And that honestly, right there, made me pick up the phone and text my brothers just to see how they're really doing. Because I feel like when we ask the question, we get these surface level responses instead of getting real deep. Because it's understanding, like, man, what are you really going through? What are you dealing with at right now in at this point in your life? I don't know why I'm jumping the words, but asking that question, really sitting there and understanding what they're going through. Because you may be going through the same thing they're going through, but y'all never had that open discussion of like, man, what are you holding? What weight are you carrying right now that you may need help with? Because it's like us as men, we carry a lot of weight that we really don't divulge to people because, it goes back to childhood. We didn't learn how to communicate our emotions of what we're feeling. Now we're at the age where if we may have done the work earlier where we can communicate how we feel, or we're at the point where we're like, okay, I'm at that stage in my life where I need to learn how to communicate how I feel and what I feel because I never learned how to. And that gap, that silence between men who genuinely care about each other, that is costing us more than we know. This is Sana E. This quarter one, we've been doing the real work, right? Talking about who you are, what you've internalized, the weight you carry, the expectations you've inherited. We've gone deep into identity. We discussed imposter syndrome, self sabotage, and one of the latest episodes, the pressure to provide. And today, I want to keep adding to that pot. You dig? This is a piece that really connects it all. This is right here, really puts it all together. This is the glue, I want to say. None of the work that sticks in isolation, not fully and not long term, which is what we're talking about today. And that's brotherhood, real brotherhood, and why it may be the most slept on mental health strategy available to you right now. So let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen. Let me give you the landscape first, because when you see the numbers, this stops feeling like a personal problem and starts looking like what it actually is, a generational crisis that was built over decades. Did you know in 1990, 55% of men said they had 6 or more close friends? By 2021, that number dropped to 27%, cut nearly in half in 30 years. Today, 15% of men report having 0 close friends, not a small circle, nothing at all. And 1 in 4 men between the ages of 15 and 34 report feeling lonely on a regular basis. 20% of single men say they have no close friends at all. Ain't that something? And you probably listen to this right now like, do I have close friends? Can I call on somebody to really go in depth of what I'm feeling, what I'm going through? Because they may be going through the same thing, but they have that shield up as me. Let's get deeper into this. Researchers are calling this the friendship recession, and it isn't abstract. Loneliness in men increases cancer risk, contributes directly to cardiovascular disease, dementia, and depression. The U.S. Surgeon General declared loneliness a public health epidemic in 2023. We're the most connected generation in history and one of the most loneliest. Ain't that some shit? Now, this is where we have to get specific because the Pew research found that 74% of men, if they're reaching out to anyone at all, they reach out to a romantic partner first, not a friend, not a brother, their partner. Which means for the brothers who are single, many of them have nobody to call on. And for the brothers who are partnered, they've placed the entire weight of their emotional world on that one person. You know, this is this enormous weight of pressure that they're putting on the relationship only will lead to the relationship causing the friction and that relationship ending. And once that happens, they have nothing left. And we all know what happens. And this right here isn't a coincidence. It's not a pattern. It starts with how we were taught, how we were, matter of fact, this was caught, not taught. We caught the way to act as men. We caught the emotional side of how to act, as well as the physical side, what we saw. And we weren't taught how to build and keep real friendships. So here's something I want you to sit with. Men were not always like this. Historically, male friendships were openly affectionate. I know what y'all thinking. Not affectionate like that. They were emotionally present. Men leaned on each other, expressed care, celebrated each other without any of the weird energy we've attached to it now. If you read letters between men from the 1800s, the language was tender. It was warm. It was real. It was genuine. Well, that all changes from the 1800s now to 2026. That cultural pressure expanded, specifically around how men were supposed to present themselves. We, we began to code closeness between men as weakness. Vulnerability became something to hide. Emotional disclosure became something that could cost you. And by the time our fathers were being raised, the message was clear: be strong, be stoic, handle it yourself. Don't put yourself, don't put your don't put your weight on other men. That was the definition of manhood. So what do we inherit? We inherit the surface. What we do now these days, we talk about sports, we talk about work, we talk about money and the moves we're trying to make, right? But we internalize the real stuff, the things that we're really feeling in that moment. We can talk surface level all we want, but if we don't get in the depths of ourselves and letting the people around us understand who we are, then it's like a slow death. But research from Stanford found that men's social networks are shallower in depth, less emotionally open, and far less likely to be used as a source of real support. There are brothers out there who have been friends for 10 years, a whole decade, and don't actually know each other. Not really. They know each other's, highlight reels, which is everything that we show. And that's not the same thing because we already know the highlight reels are so high for so long. But what about the lows? Do you let people in on the low times in your life? Now, layer on the specific experience of being a black man in America. Code switching was survival. Hypervigilance was necessary. Showing softness in the wrong room around the wrong people could generally cost you something. So what we do? We build armor, that real necessary armor for navigating real hostile environments. But here's what nobody really taught us: that same armor doesn't know when to come off. You bring it home, you bring it to your friendships, you bring it to the people who actually want to know you. And the armor keeps them out the same way it kept everything else out. Did you know the National Institute of Minority Health launched an initiative called Brother, You're on My Mind? Specifically because research showed that Black men with depression are significantly less likely to seek help. Not because the need isn't there, because the pathway to help feels too exposed, too at odds with everything manhood was supposed to mean. But here's the real thing about having that armor: it was built for battle. You're not in battle every single moment of your life. From the men who love you, your real brothers, they ain't your enemy. Sometimes you gotta let them in. Hmm. But I want to get precise about something. When I say brotherhood is a mental health strategy, I'm not speaking metaphorically. I mean it literally. A study published in the BMC Psychiatry ran a 24-week community based intervention with Black men. It combined physical activity, health education, and social network support. Not just workout partners, men who were accountable to each other, present with each other, building something real together. The results around measurable improvements in depression scores, and these are the measurable improvements in cardiovascular markers, measure mental health outcomes from community, from connection, from brotherhood. Men with a strong social ties are 60% more likely to be engaged in their communities. Healthy friendships reduce the risk of depression, anxiety, and premature death. And for Black men specifically, culturally familiar peer support, brothers who actually get it, is one of the most effective mental health interventions available. Not a supplement, not an app, but your real brothers. I know it's a lot, man. It's a lot. You like, man, it's a lot to internalize. It's a lot to think about. But the American Enterprise Institute put it plainly: healthy friendships inoculate men against despair. And inoculate, you know, big words and all that. It's basically a medical word that they're saying brotherhood is a vaccine against the kind of darkness that takes men out, which is depression. Now I want to address something real because what some of you are thinking right now is like, XO, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. And I want to do this, but where do I find those brothers like minded like me? Most of the friendships don't even go that deep. I don't really have a circle like that, a crew like that, friends like that. And let me tell you, that is the most common thing these days. And it's more common than you think. Researchers have found that men struggle here not because they don't want that, but because they were never given the tools to build and maintain it. Vulnerability, emotional consistency, real presence, those are skills. And most of us, we were never taught them. Just being honest. Take a second right now and reflect back on when you were growing up. Were you taught emotional skills of how to handle your emotions as an adult, or were you taught something different? And this means we have to do the work. This isn't a character flaw. It's a training gap, and training gaps can be closed. So let me break something down to you because I hear men say this a lot. I got my people all the time. You hear it loud and clear. I got my people. I got my dogs. I got the people around me, and I believe them. But I want to ask, what kind of people? What kind of people do you have around you? Do you have the people you can lean on, or you don't? Because there's a difference between a crew and a circle. We all know what crew. A crew is who show up for you in the good times, the trip, the cookout, the wins. They hype you up when you post something. They're there when things are easy and the energy's right. But a circle, oh man, I love my circle. Shout out to them. The circles, those are the real ones. It's the people who show up when shit hits the fan, when times get hard, when you're just down and out. The ones you can call at 11 at night when something's wrong, who will tell you the truth, even when you don't want to hear it, but you need to hear it. Not just what feels good, but the real life truth. Who know the real version of you, not just the version you put out there for social media. But don't get me wrong, both have value, but only one will carry you through those dark seasons. Only one will be there through your trials and tribulations. So it's understanding and picking through your people and seeing who's my circle and who's my crew. But researchers describe it this way: depth of male friendship has become progressively shallower over the generations. Men connect around sports, work, money, but almost never around what actually is happening on the inside. There are brothers who have known each other for years and still don't truly really know each other. Not past that surface level stuff. It's crazy. I'm thinking back now as I'm as I'm going. I'm like, man, it's deep. It's deep because we don't take the time to do it. As long as we do the surface level things, we feel like we're good with that friendship, with that brotherhood. But is it really a brotherhood if you don't know the depths of the person, of the trials and tribulations that they went through in their life, and the trials and tribulations you went through your life? And that shallowness right there is a part of what's breaking us. So here's a question I want to ask you, and I want you to really sit with this. Who in your circle, not your crew, we already know what a crew is. Who in your circle, the people who know the real weight you carry, the real armor that you have, the past, man. We all got a past, don't we? If you can't name one person right now who is in your circle, don't look at it as failure. This is just real information for yourself. This is where the work begins. And I want to speak directly to the brothers who grew up in environments where trust was really hard to earn, where opening up had real consequences, where that vulnerability wasn't safe because the room or the environment wasn't safe. The caution, it's not irrational. It was trained into you by real experiences. But what I'm inviting you to consider is whether the walls that protected you then are now keeping you from the connection that would actually heal you. There's a difference between being discerning about who you trust and being closed to trust entirely. So, hold on, I gotta get this drink of water. Your real brothers, the ones who deserve access, are not threat to your strength. They're what makes your strength sustainable. So, with that being said, let's get practical, fellas. Here's some practical steps. Step one, man, you might have to get your pen and pad out, take some notes. This right here, step one, audit your current relationships. Not to rank people or cut anyone off, but get honest about what's actually there. Who in your life do you allow to see the real you? Who would you call if something went wrong tonight? That list might be shorter than you want it to be, but that's all right. Awareness is always the first move. We talked about that back in our identity episodes, is being aware. Number two, go deeper with one person. Go in depth, go and having that conversation, the real conversations, not the whole network, the whole group, just one person. Someone you already have a real foundation with, and not just history, but actually trust, and make one move toward depth. It can be small acts. Hey, dude, hey, bro, how you really doing? And wait for that real answer. And then vice versa, share something you've been carrying that you said out loud that you haven't said out loud. One real conversation is really how it starts. Step three, create a rhythm. Consistency builds trust. We talked about this with the discipline episode. The same principle applies to friendships. A monthly check-in, a standing call, a regular meal. The communities that show up in the research as actually improving men's mental health. Oh, I'm, I don't know why I'm tripping over my words. Forgive me, fellas. Um, Outcomes all have one thing in common: structure, right? Not, we also link soon, a recurring intentional movement set up. Like, hey, bro, let's go out. I don't know, these days, whatever you do to connect. But step four, go first. This is the really the hardest one. I think really putting yourself out there. It requires reaching out when you don't know if you reciprocate. If they'll reciprocate the same energy that you reciprocated. Checking on someone who hasn't checked on you, being vulnerable before you have proof it's safe. This is not weakness. That is real leadership. You got to lead from the front. And it is the only thing that actually breaks the cycle. The brother on You're on my mind initiative found something powerful. Trusted brothers who share values of community and mutual Support may be in the best position to start sensitive relationships about mental health. Not therapists, not hotlines, but your brothers. Men who already have the relationship to say, I thought of you and I wanted to see how you were doing. You see everything every time. Because that is all it takes to begin real conversation. Conversation doesn't have to be perfect. Not a vulnerability dump. It's just, hey, I thought of you, bro. I want to see how you're really doing. You've been on my mind. What's going on? And that's the move. Because it's like we gotta care about our brothers out here. So let's connect this like a web, man. Let's connect it. Because we're about to land this plane, gentlemen and ladies, if y'all out there listening to. Think about what we've been working on through quarter one, the identity work, right? Separating who you are from what your people expect you to become. Recognizing the imposter syndrome for what it is. We all been through it. Not a verdict, a pattern. Building that discipline doesn't require you to destroy yourself in the process. Releasing the pressure to prove your worth through the output. All that right there. Love it. That's the gumbo right there. All that's the internal work. Now you got to go to the potluck. um, this right here, it's all necessary. It's foundational. Doing all that work right there. But here's what I've come to understand. Internal work has a ceiling when it's done completely alone. Because your identity doesn't just get built in isolation, it gets reinforced or undermined by the people around you. When you're surrounded by men who only know the performed version of you, that performance gets harder and harder to maintain. You know how it is. But when you have brothers who know the real you, people that know the real XO, it reflects you back on yourself accurately. The internal work lands differently. And this right here is not soft, it's neurological. Human beings are wired for social regulation. Our nervous systems they literally co-regulate with the people around us. When you are in the presence of someone who is genuinely safe, your body knows it. Your cortisol drops, your defense is lower. You think more clearly, you heal faster. I'll say that again for the people in the back. You heal faster. Brotherhood is not a luxury on top of the work. It is part of the mechanism of the work. So, as we keep flying through quarter one, because I'm like, bro, quarter one's over in like 2 weeks, which is crazy to think about. This whole year right now is blowing by fast. But as we go on through quarter one, and as you keep doing the inner work that we're all about, I want you to carry this with you. The strongest version of you is not the most isolated version. It's the most connected one. So let me land this plane. The friendship recession is real. The data is real. The distance between how connected we look and how connected we actually feel, that is real. But so is this. You have the power to change it. Not for everyone, not all at once, but for yourself. And for the one or two brothers who need to go first, real brotherhood is not about the size of your circle. It's about the realness of it. Even if it's just two people, two peas in a pod. I am my brother's keeper. Even if it's one person who knows the actual you, one person you check on with nothing to gain, and one person who you let past your highlight reel of your life. That's where you need to start, because the work we're doing on this platform, the identity work, the mental health work, the work of becoming the real you, that work is more powerful when it's witnessed. When somebody who knows you can see the change, oh, we love that, right? When you have a brother who say, hey, bro, I see who you becoming, man. Keep going. You're inspiring me. Keep going down your journey. That isn't weakness. That is the most powerful things available to you. This is the end, ladies and gentlemen. of this episode of Sana IE. I'm EXO. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for doing the work. Thank you for sharing the show. If you've been sharing the show, man, thank you. If this is your first time listening, man, go ahead and hit that subscribe button or follow button if you listen on Spotify. I'd greatly appreciate it. And check out the website, sanaie.com. We out here. Appreciate y'all, man. Take care of yourself. Check on your people, man. Brothers, bros, fellas. Check on yourself and reach out. Reach out to your people, man. Be the first one. Take that first step. That being said, see y'all later.